I gotta do my
surprise live because I told no one we were going to be doing it.
Oh no.
No, I didn't update anyone. Hi, everyone that sees this after it has been posted. While we wait for people to join, if you are in need of my help whatsoever, check the links that are not going to be in this. Yeah, if you're interested in any of my help whatsoever, if I remember to, I'll post the links after this has gone live. I have started a second channel, which is going to be more aimed at helping general mindset changes as opposed to LOA specific changes. It will be mainly targeted towards men because obviously I'm a guy, but you know, anyone's welcome there if they're interested. But that channel is called Becoming Something Better, which I'll also probably post below. Because yeah, I think I genuinely think based on how long I've been coaching and all that lot, that there needs to be more of an initiative on actually genuinely fixing mindsets as opposed to just live in the end. I think I definitely think there needs to be a lot more work on the general mindset. So I decided to make a second channel. This obviously will still be the main channel and I'll still be doing all the LOA stuff, but I definitely think there needs to be a more of a mindset shift channel as well. I've also been super busy lately with work and stuff, so I haven't actually been able to do a lot of other stuff. But now that people are joining, that's all over. I'll start talking.
Hello.
Jordan Strong says, hey, you two. I hope you're both well. Matt, dude, your arms must be knackered after that challenge. Yeah, absolutely. First off, yeah, we're good. Thank you. Hope you are too. Thanks for joining. And yeah, so I did the challenge. And then afterwards, I had like the sort of my chest and my arms were like a little bit sore, but I was like, okay. Then the day after in the morning, I was like, oh, I feel great. At about halfway through the day after, it all just hit. And I was like, oh, I can't move. And then, for about 2 days after that, because I did the challenge on, I think, Monday, I think? Yeah, I did the challenge on Monday. It wasn't until like yesterday that I'd finally kind of recovered. But yeah, so it was messy.
I'm just going to go and pause the tumble dryer because I feel like they might be able to hear it just like going round and round.
No worries. Random Name says, I finally got off on a day you twos are streaming. Whoop, whoop. Howdy, howdy. I'm glad to have you here. Yeah, we weren't sure whether we were going to even be able to do this stream because of we were literally out until not long ago. I didn't know if we were going to get back in time, but I also didn't want to say to everyone that we weren't doing it just in case we were. So I kind of left that open and hoped that obviously everyone will be here. Jade Lamb says, is having vengeful imagination means dwelling in the old story? I sometimes have that and able to flip the thoughts here and there. Well, I think, in all honesty, I think that you've answered your own question there quite well, based on that. Like, you wouldn't be vengeful of someone that you're in the most loving, passionate, committed relationship with. So I definitely think that, yes, there is probably an element of dwelling in the old story. Otherwise, why would you be vengeful? You don't just, hate people or have anger towards people you've only just met. So yes, I would say there is an element of dwelling in the old story if you're having vengeful imaginations. Dev says, hey, you guys. Howdy, howdy, Dev. Glad to see you here. Cinnamon Cheesecake says, yo, quick question. When you manifested Katie, did she do a complete 180? What exactly happened? Curious. So basically, yeah. I basically did all the standard fucking low self-concept bullshit of like, we can work it out. It'll be okay. And then she was just like, nah, it's not. And I was like, okay. So I left. And then we were in no contact completely. And then out of nowhere, she rang me. So I suppose, yes, you could say it did do a complete 180 in the grand scheme of things. Dev says, I noticed one thing I want to tell you guys. The ones who are affirming for their SP or anything, the opposite happens to them because back in their mind, they are expecting the negative, even though they are affirming. What are your thoughts about this? Yes, I would actually kind of agree. And this is one of the reasons why I've mentioned that affirming like a banshee is usually not a very good idea, because usually you are coming from a state of lack. And this is why I have been recommending a lot more in my more recent videos. I've been kind of speaking about this. Is to utilize the morning and the night when your conscious mind is more out of the way. I highly recommend. Am I bleeding? I'm bleeding. I highly recommend. I don't know. I've got blood on me. I highly recommend utilizing the morning and the night because that's when your conscious mind is out of the way, and that is when you're able to impress your subconscious mind more with the idea, because your conscious mind isn't going, but we don't really believe that, do we? But yes, I do believe that the people that are affirming kind of non-stop, the reason that they are doing that, because it's not everyone that affirms for it that gets the opposite. It's the ones that tend to be affirming quite a lot. And the same reason that they're affirming quite a lot is the same reason they're getting the opposite. They are in lack. They feel like they have to be non-stop punching these affirmations into the back of their head, basically. And then, yeah, because they're in a lack, that's what shows up. Rosie B says, hello, howdy, glad to have you here. Cinnamon Cheesecake says, and Katie, what did you feel before calling Matt, or what were you going through?
So I was going about my normal day, normal life. I was obviously very sad because like I didn't like the breakup wasn't, although like I don't know how to explain it. It wasn't something that I wanted. It was more something that I felt was the only option. Let's just say. So that's where the breakup sort of was. I wasn't happy about the breakup sort of thing. So I wasn't like out there just like all crazy, living my best life sort of thing. I was just going about my normal sort of, like autopilot, taking the kids to school, doing this, doing that sort of thing. So I had plans that day, and I just sort of, basically was just like, no, I'm not doing those plans. I'm going there. So that was that sort of thing.
Just like,
yeah. It was like it was like I didn't intend to do that day. That was not like I know I will wait until I think it was a Wednesday. Was it a Wednesday? I don't know.
It was a Tuesday.
A Tuesday. It wasn't like I sat there like I know I will wait till Tuesday, then I'll go and do this. It was Tuesday morning. I was like, sorry, I'm cancelling on you, and off I went.
Random Name says, we always talk about how Matt manifested Katie. Lol, has Katie ever manifested anything with Matt, like a date, behavior changes, etc.? Lol, if she is comfortable with it, telling us. And then also said, okay, the next part is a different comment. Go ahead.
So yeah, I have. I believe so. We are two very different in terms of how we show affection and things like that. So he is very much physical touch. I am very much compliments, talking and stuff like that. So one of the things that I have definitely manifested out of Matt is more compliments, like more sort of, I guess, affirmations from you sort of thing. I'm trying to think what else. There has definitely been other things.
I'm a massive bully as well. That's another one of my like big love languagey things.
Oh yeah, he's like mean. Like in the playground when you have like a crush when you're like a little kid in the playground and they like push you over and stuff like that. That is him. That is him in a nutshell. So I feel like maybe as well I have eliminated certain aspects of the bullying.
Potentially, I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? Open to interpretation there. Jade Lynn says, besides self-concept, how can I get out of those vengeful thoughts? Also, how long does it take from no contact to day? Okay, so how do you get out of, other than self-concept, the vengeful thoughts? I think the vengeful thoughts part will come from a forgiveness, a place of forgiveness. You are clearly still hurt about something, or like angry about something, or some sort of negative emotion about something that happened, and that is why you are having these vengeful thoughts. Self-concept will definitely help because it'll allow you to kind of let go, but I do think you need to practice forgiveness as well. Self-concept alone will be beneficial, but I don't think it will be because you can still feel like this amazing person, still have vengeful thoughts. Still not have forgiven. So I definitely think you need to practice forgiveness. It didn't take long. It didn't take long from no contact till Katie reaching out, but I'll be honest, my story is going to be different from yours. I know that it's obviously nice to hear other people's stories when they're like, oh yeah, we got it in a day, a week, a month, or whatever. But your journey is your journey. I would focus more on about fixing your journey as opposed to trying to compare it to mine. It wasn't that long, I'll be honest, but I definitely don't think that should be the biggest of your concerns. It can happen within a day. It can happen within a week. It can happen within a month. Just make sure that you're working on your own stuff. Random Name says, hope. Oh, I can never say this. Hope, no, pono. Guided meditations help with forgiveness and self-forgiveness. Yeah, exactly. And then they also say, both of your love languages are mine. My two of my I can't speak.
Are two of my top three.
Yeah. What's your and quality time?
Yeah, I'd say we both have a quality time.
It depends. If I'm doing a quality time thing that I enjoy, like I'm not too big on walks. I'll enjoy them, but walking and just because I'm doing it.
No, but like quality time. I don't think your quality time doesn't generally mean activities. So it doesn't matter what activity that we are doing. like the enjoyment of being in each other's company, I'd say is quite big for both of us, because we do spend a lot of time together and feel a little bit uncomfortable when there's not as much time.
I would agree, but like I said, being around you doesn't all of a sudden make walks more interesting. So it has to be something that I enjoy, because I fucking hate walking. See, I'm a bully.
Ho'oponopono.
Ho'oponopono.
Pono.
Ho'oponopono. Ho-Oh is a Pokemon. Dev says, for example, if I see something undesirable in the 3D, how should I just close my eyes and sit with the assumption I have my SP or whatever? Well, I think that comes from a state of denial, and I've never really said that you have to be you have to deny it. What I recommend is to feel through if you need to. What's wrong? I forgot the live chat again.
I don't think we've missed anything.
It's really annoying, because I used to before, on the version that I created before, I actually clicked live chat, but then I had to delete and redo it again. Yeah, so as I sort of speak about in a lot of my videos, I don't think you have to be a mindless robot and just go, that didn't happen, blah, 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 and like cover yourself. What I think you need to do is feel it through, so that you can accept those feelings, you can feel what you're feeling, and then allow yourself to move on forward. When I say that people need to not react, or people need to not dwell, what I mean is you felt the initial reaction, and then just for the sake of you felt good dwelling in this negative state, continuing to dwell. That's what I say you shouldn't be doing. But I've always said that if something happens in your 3D, you should accept it as best you can, breathe through it, feel it however you need to feel it, and then move forward. Otherwise, you're just going to be burying stuff over and over and over again, and then you're never going to actually move on. You're never going to actually be able to express yourself properly and live in the end properly. So I would just say, deal with it how you have to deal with it, and then move forward in a way that's healthy. Random Name says, you could be on your phones and do nothing, but just enjoy each other having their company. Yeah, that I'm down for. Verge says, when I feel my SP misses me and thinks about me, then why is it that it is still taking time for them to contact me? When I feel my SP, okay, so you say that you feel them, which is great, but that's just a feeling that you may have. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's playing out in your reality right now. Remember, there is some like general lag time a lot of the time between when you're impressing your submind and when it actually happens. So feeling it right now is great, and that could be you sort of saying, yep, this is done for me, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it is actually done for you yet, as in like the 3D has conformed. And the fact that you keep acknowledging that it's taking time for them to contact you. If you are noticing that they are not here, if you are noticing that it's taking time, you're asking how they're going to come, you're asking when they're going to come, you are in disassociation with having. If I have my plate of dinner in front of me, I don't ask how long it's going to take to cook. I'd say this over and over. But yeah, it's true. You really, really need to stop asking, why is it not coming yet? Where is it? When is it coming? All of these questions, because all of these questions are you being in disassociation with you having it. And if you're in disassociation and looking for it, then you are accepting that it is not here right now. So what is your subconscious mind going to take on board more? You accepting something negative and really feeling it true because you're dwelling in that, why is it not here? Where is it? And you're giving power to the meaning of it. Or your impressed scene where you're trying to give power to it, but then every time you do, you say, where is it? And dwell in this other scene more. You really, really need to keep feeling it that it's done and trust that it's done until it comes. Stop looking for it. Stop asking for it. Trust yourself, trust the process, trust what me and every other coach has said. And that is to stop asking these questions. Not to us specifically. I don't mean like stop asking me these questions. I just mean stop asking yourself. Just trust yourself. If you ever feel like in a situation where you're like, oh, well, where is it? Just remind yourself it's done, and then move on with your day. Kavish Lachman says, boo.
Says rabbit, cricket, roller coaster. Boo.
Oh, I see. I haven't got my glasses, so I couldn't see
I
couldn't see the emojis properly. So, well, that's just cruel. See, now I'm getting bullied. Yeah, I fucking hate crickets. They're the worst. I've been trying to get better with my fear of roller coasters. Fun fact, when we went to go to my mum's a little while ago, I did actually get on one of those like plane things that go round. Admittedly, it was a kid's one, but and I'll be honest, when it went upward, it must have been no higher than a house. It wasn't any higher than a roof of a house, and I was sitting there like, I'm really bad for it. But yeah, thank you for taking a piss out of my fears. Aquarius Child says, I struggle to attract love. What are your best tips? I'm not the most confident and struggle to feel how it would feel. My best tips, if you're struggling to attract love, since you don't have a specific person, you don't even necessarily in this instance need to know how it feels to be loved. If you work on your self-concept and just work on viewing yourself as the most amazing person, if you start prioritizing yourself, if you start loving yourself, other people will reflect that onto you. The position you're in right now, at least I assume, because you haven't stated a specific person, is the best thing, because all you have to do is self-concept, and then everyone will start showing up for you in that way. And then when people start treating you right because your self-concept is in a good place, then you will start to understand what it is like to feel love. And then obviously if you have a specific person, you can use that then. Cinnamon Cheesecake says, every day is a Sabbath day. I am glad to hear it. Ali Braun says, is it okay knowing that my SP would be back, but not quite living, feeling like he's with me right now? So your subconscious mind pushes out what it believes to be true for you. So if you're in a position of knowing that he will be back but you don't really feel that he is back on occasion, then you will probably be in a state for quite a while where you're constantly feeling like he is back. Because if I impress my subconscious mind with tomorrow I'll get it, your subconscious mind doesn't have a concept of time. It just knows what you're impressing it, which means every day will be another day saying, tomorrow I'm going to get it. Tomorrow I'm going to get it. Tomorrow I'm going to get it. This is why you have to dwell in the idea of you already having it. So then they can go, oh, this is our experience right now. Let me push this out. And then, sorry, I got hiccups. And then that's what it does. So I would advise to try and work on feeling like it's with you right now, but it is okay to still acknowledge that you will get it in the future at times, because obviously I understand that living in the end all the time isn't exactly the most healthy thing to do, which is why it's the dominant state and not having to be in it 99.9999%. But yeah. Random Name says, I'd imagine no contact would be difficult circumstances for people with quality time as their top love language. Yeah, probably. I feel my time without contact with things that I enjoy. So it's like obviously no contact doesn't just have to be, well, predominantly it does mean when you're not together. But let's say, for example, Katie's at work and she can't message me all day. If I do start to miss her, which is very rare because I have a lot of work to do myself during the day, you know what I meant, as in like I'm always busy. But like if Katie's not available to text me and like all day, I'll just fill the day with things that I enjoy, and then I won't even notice that she's gone until like she comes home and I'm like, oh, she's back. You make me out to be so bad with these faces. I'm sorry you've got an ambitious partner. You will be when you...
Huh? What?
Ali Braun says, preach. What did I preach? What was it that I said that you're saying me to be preached? I don't know. Jade Lynn says, thank you for your comment. I'm doing good with affirmations and self-concept, but sometimes my mind goes on autopilot and leads me to a dark place. Yeah, but you are in control of your brain, not the other way around, which means when you start to go into a dark place, you can pull yourself out of it. I know it's not that easy. I understand entirely that it isn't that easy. There's still times when Katie and I will be arguing or something, and my dumbass will still make stupid comments in the moment, even though I know the best thing to do would to just to let it go. So I do completely understand what it's like when you're when your mind goes somewhere. But you just got to remember that you are the upper power and you control what your thoughts are. So just bring yourself out of it as best you can, and you'll be all good. Now I just walk away when Katie and I argue. She gets mad at me even more.
We don't ever argue.
We haven't argued for a long time, actually.
No, we just don't argue.
Hope Zappa says, you two look lovely together. Thank you very much. I tried very hard.
As you talk about arguing.
As I talk about arguing, yeah. As I sit there bullying you the whole time. Random Name says, as someone with no contact with my SP temporarily, the feelings that pop up when missing them are supposed to let you know what limiting beliefs or self-concept issues are that need to be addressed or dealt with. Are you saying that they are, or are you asking me? Hang on. As someone who with no contact with my SP temporarily, the feelings that pop up when missing them are supposed to let you know what limiting beliefs / old self-concept issues that need to be addressed or dealt with. There's no SP to be triggered by now. You are left with what is inside now. Focusing on SP is you trying to run away from yourself. No judgment, because this is something I'm working on now. Oh, are you answering someone else, or are you like framing that to me?
I think they are answering someone else.
Yeah, I think so. I would agree though. Like definitely, like I understand when you're in no contact missing someone, and I will never say that missing someone is the wrong thing to do when you're in no contact. But yeah, I definitely agree with what Random Name says there, where it's showing you something. There's a reason you're missing them. It could either be the physical attention. It could be the fact that you had someone around. It could be the idea that like the missing might not even be a loving missing. It might just be that you don't want them to move on. So I definitely think that when you're in no contact, if you start missing them, it is telling you something, and absolutely it's giving you an incentive for something to work toward. So yeah, I think it's a very good comment, random name. Thank you for sharing that. Jen Medak says, hello to you both. Howdy, howdy.
Hi.
I'm dealing with this tax audit and it's such a headache. I sent in the final documents. How do I manifest everything coming back approved and done with? Oh, you said something else as well. Oh no, someone else with the same color thingy. So in these kind of situations, I would always just say, what is the outcome that you want? And then go to that outcome, create scenes and statements that imply that that outcome is true right now. And then just dwell in that. Use the morning and night where your subconscious mind is most receptive, and try your best to impress your subconscious mind by bringing these scenes and statements to mind, dwelling in them until you feel a state of fulfillment, and then go about your day knowing that it is done. It's just best going to the end with these kind of things. Don't try messing with the middle of like, oh, the tax person came back and said that this is all going really well, blah blah blah. You don't want that. You honestly just want the end result, the money in your account, or the fully thing being completely resolved. Hashan, let me just scroll down a bit. Okay. Hashan says, Matt, appreciate your service and you are awesome. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. My manifestation is done. And when I'm in done state, it's very easy to ignore old story. I'm glad to hear it. Hey off lately, I have been ignoring LOA stuff on YouTube. Well, I'm actually quite happy for you. If you've managed to get to this state in such a short period of time from our last session till now, then you've done really well. So congratulations. And I'm glad you're able to stay off the LOA stuff. I do definitely think it's a bit of a drug. To be honest, even like I say, I mean, I know obviously I'm sort of hurting my own channel by saying that you should stop it, but once you understand the concepts, there's not really much point to be watching video after video after video. Streams are quite helpful because then you can just ask like the odd question if you have one here and there, but it keeps you off of like the constant tangent. When you're watching videos, you're not doing the work. So I'm happy for you. Good job. Jade Lynn said, hope this is a good idea. Play The Sims and create yourself an SP booster visualization a lot. That is quite funny, actually. If we go by that standard, I should be walking around naked non-stop because Katie created a Sims family of us, and for some reason, my character just always gets naked. He's just constantly walking around naked.
He's always in like his swimming costume.
Yeah.
And I keep changing it back, and then 2 seconds later, he's just walking around in his swimming costume again, and I'm like, why? But then you do that quite a lot.
Yeah, yeah. That's fair enough. What's the point in it? You know, I pay the bills and stuff. I should be able to walk free. but yeah, no, I like the idea. If it helps you, if you can talk to your Sims character and be like, oh, SP, like, look how loving you are to me, or that kind of stuff, then fuck it, why not?
Well, you can't talk on Sims.
No, but I mean, like, as in, if you were talking to your SP like person, it's like if you were talking to my character saying, oh, Matt, you're so nice to me, or something, you know, you go and get out. I don't know. I don't play Sims.
I like to make the houses.
Yeah, she does.
I like to make the houses.
Random name says, giving advice to people who are missing their SP low. Oh, yeah, above. Yeah, makes sense. I mean, absolutely. It was a very good comment. Jen Medak says, thank you. I got it. Good. Hopefully you can make use of it and hopefully get the results that you want. Jennifer Campbell says, help. Oh, hello to you both. I need to start wearing my glasses. Jesus Christ. Howdy, howdy. I have been manifesting an SP for a long time now. So my question is, how do you know when your manifestation is close? So close is a funny thing, because if you had said, how do you know when your manifestation is done? Oh, I've broken his toy. That would have made more sense. Oh, not
Lego, it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. That would have been a better question to ask me, I think, because when you say close, it's very difficult for me to state to you what would make it close. Now, you can obviously get signs and stuff like that your subconscious mind is hearing what you're telling it. But a sign also doesn't necessarily mean that it is close. I know a lot of YouTubers have posted stuff like 10 ways to know that it's close, 5 ways to know that it's close. I don't operate in that same kind of way purely because there's been instances where I've had signs for months and still nothing. And then there's been instances where I've had signs, the same sort of signs, and then it's come within like a week or two. So I think the question that you should ask yourself is less about how do you know that it's close, because if you're asking how do you know it's close, you're again in separation of having it. And I would focus more on knowing that the impression has been done, because when you know that it's been done, that you know that it is coming, you know, and when you know that it's coming, you can just sit back with your feet up. But when you're asking if it's close, that shows an air of desperation / needing it now, because why else would you be asking, like, is it closed? Hopefully it's closed, blah, 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 because usually that comes from an impatience, and that's obviously the wrong state to be. If I was to give you a broad answer, though, I would say you would start to see signs that kind of correlate quite closely to what your end result is. That is how you can know that your subconscious mind is kind of putting the pieces together. So, like, if you're dwelling in marriage, you might have a friend say that they're getting married. You might see a bunch of random people on TV getting married, or like get pamphlets about wedding dresses or like groomsmen dresses and all that kind of stuff. That would probably be my biggest thing to know that it was like close, quote unquote.
But one thing I wanted to add to that is you need to not spend your time looking for signs.
Yeah.
Because obviously you are putting yourself back into the state of not having it. If you are constantly looking for signs that it's close, you're still waiting. And then, you know, with the looking for signs, you start to see signs, you start to convince yourself it's close, and then you start to think, I don't need to put in any more work now. It's close, it's on its way. But because you're there looking for signs, chasing it still and everything like that, you have put the wrong impression out there. Therefore, all of the signs that you can be seeing could be what you're perceiving as signs, but they might not actually be signs. I got a bit muddled up with what I was actually trying to say there, but what I'm trying to say, I guess, in a round is like, if you are looking for signs, you are in the state of not having it. If you're in the state of not having it, you are not doing the work to have it. So if you are looking at these signs and going, there's all the signs, it's on its way, I don't need to do anything now, that can be a good thing, but it can also go the wrong way.
Yeah, science can also create more signs. If you accept science as like, oh my God, this is amazing, blah, 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 you could potentially just impress the idea of seeing that thing again. And then sometimes you get stuck in a science loop. So just be careful with it.
I think that was what I was trying to say, and I just could not get to there. But yeah.
Veg Queen says, any tips about how to trust the process, feel fulfilled, and know it is done no matter what the 3D shows me? Just continue to dwell in the end state. It's literally like, I don't want to say this as, I don't want us to come across as sounding patronizing, but it is literally that simple. The end result, or the only thing that you need to do, is impress your subconscious mind with the idea that it's done. So when you start feeling like, oh, it might not be done, just go back to that place, utilize the morning and night so that you can start your day feeling that it's done and end your day feeling that it's done. And just remind yourself of the place where it is done. And that's how you can trust the process. You don't even necessarily have to. I would obviously advise that you trust the process, but if you are just placing your focus back in the place where it's already done, you don't even need to necessarily trust it, because you're reliving it in your imagination over and over again. And that is literally, and like I said, again, I don't want to sound patronizing, but it is that simple. You do just remind yourself of the place where it is already done, and then just keep doing that until it comes into play. This is why Neville Goddard said, persist until it hardens into fact. He wouldn't say persist until it hardens into fact if it was a case of doing it once and then letting it go forever. But that would be my biggest advice, is just go back to the place where it's done. Fitter says, my SP is in the friend zone right now, but I think I have to end to see him because the 3D hurts me too much. I'm always disappointed and think that doesn't help with my end goal. So you put your SP in the friend zone. Is that what you're saying? Yeah, just curious. Jennifer Campbell says, makes perfect sense. Thank you, bunches. You're very welcome. Jordan Strang says, as Matt knows, I've got a new SP who I manifested and things are going really well, but I've noticed signs of my old SP coming back up again and I'm not manifesting them. What could that mean? I'm confused. So a lot of the time when someone is consciously manifesting something, they are filled with an air of desperation. They're filled with an air of, I need this, I need this, I need this. And that is essentially going to be placing them in a state of not having. But as Neville Goddard says, I don't usually reference him too much, but I think because people sort of are so dependent on his word, it's probably beneficial to my channel for me to actually reference him a lot more. But as Neville Goddard says in one of his books, the seed of creation. So you can plant the seed of creation by impressing your subconscious mind. So if you were doing all the work before, that could have just been a seed that you'd planted. And the reason that it's coming up now is because now that your attention is away from this person and onto someone else, you've allowed that seed to grow. You're not constantly watching over it. You're not constantly like unearthing it and then reburying it, then unearthing it, then reburying it. You're just allowing that seed to grow in its own way. And that could be potentially your manifestation coming into play, because you are no longer in such a desperate need for it, because you've now moved on to someone else. Hashan says, Matt, I appreciate you bringing the masculine energy in the LOA community. I say this with full consciousness because it becomes easier to communicate about masculine aspirations. Yeah, so I appreciate the kind words. The other channel that you are referencing is going to be less about LOA. It's going to be about general mindset. I mentioned it at the beginning of this video, but the reason that I've done this is as I've been coaching now, officially coaching now since February. So what are we in? October. So about 10 months. 8 months. Yeah, fuck. So about 8 months now. And one thing that I've noticed in that 8 months, especially with my male clients more than the female clients, because the female clients I find are actually quite receptive to what I have to say. But you were not one of them to be honest, Hashan, but I do seem to get a lot of like what's the term that I'm looking for? Not a strong mentality is probably the best way that I could put it with a lot of the guys that I've worked with. And I think just telling them to just live in the end wasn't really enough for them. And while I completely actually understand that, because my journey has come from a lot of self-improvement as well as LOA stuff, as Katie would obviously probably be able to vouch for that, a lot of the content that I've watched has been general self-improvement content as well as LOA content. And I don't even watch LOA content much anymore because I feel like I'm at a good place where I understand LOA enough to not need to. But self-improvement content is something I'm still very big on. And what I realized was that you can tell someone to live in the end. You can give someone the perfect routine or the perfect, like, just think these thoughts. But if someone doesn't have complete control over their mind, they're not going to be able to do very well. And therefore, the new channel is going to be less about living in the end and more about how you can actually build a strong mentality. Now, I am not naive to say that it's not different for men and women. I definitely feel like I will work differently to how Katie will, and Katie will work like differently to how a lot of other men will, and all that kind of stuff. I definitely think that the messages that go out to men and women are different. And I don't mean I'm going to be like the next fucking Andrew Tate telling people, like, guys to be horrible or anything like that. I want to actually help people build strong mentalities, as in within themselves, to trust themselves, to be able to have like faith in what they're doing and that they're actually doing things right. So it's going to be more about becoming strong within yourself. It's going to be more about being able to deal with like mental health, values as a man, all those kind of things. So it's going to be less about LOA and more about general mindset, but it's not going to be one of those toxic fucking alpha male channels that I know a lot of people are quite unhappy with at the moment, because I don't care for that content. That's all red pill content. I'm not interested in red pill content. I'm interested in self-improvement. I want people to come to me, learn from me, and then be able to go off saying, actually, yes, I am confident in myself. Actually, yes, I can move forward knowing what my next steps are. And unfortunately, especially with my male clients, I have found a big disconnect between them being able to trust in themselves compared to a lot of my female clients. A lot of my female clients have come to me saying, oh, I see. So you say that I should have faith in myself, like build myself up and live in the end. But a lot of my male clients are like, oh, but I don't think I can do that. I need more help. I need this and I need that. And that's why I think the second channel is needed in order to work on more mindset and less LOA. Bit of a tangent. Hopefully that all made sense. But yeah, no, I'm definitely aiming to bring a new approach to it, I suppose. I have tried to push some of the self-improvement stuff into a lot of my videos, but it just doesn't seem to do well. The ones where I talk more about like, oh, you should go to gym. Oh, you should work on building up yourself as an individual. Oh, you should start businesses and do this and do that. Like, it just does not seem to do well. Unless I say, just imagine you with your person, doesn't do very well, unfortunately. Assumption I may have, but even Kim Velez the other day did a video about how she was going to change up for a second channel because no one cares about anything else other than specific people, which is a bit of a shame. But I appreciate the kind words. Rahul says, you both look sweet together. Can you guide me for how to use law of assumption in 3-year long distance relationship? And now we are in no contact situation, get married and marriage commitment. I really love her. Okay, so the first thing that I want to say is, the first thing that I want to say is I know you say you love her, and that's absolutely fine. You can absolutely get her, but is it the best thing for you? Now, the reason I ask this question is not because I don't think it will work, and it's not because I'm trying to deter you from going after this individual, but if you're unable to let go of blocks, if you're struggling with blocks, then I do find that it will be harder for you to work through it. Now, blocks don't exist unless they're in your head, as in like the 3D blocks mean nothing. But if you're allowing them to get in your way, then they will. So the first thing that I want to ask you is just like, are you sure that you will be able to let the distance and the no contact and everything like that get like not be in the way? The other thing is, what you will do is create the end result. So what it is that you want, whether you want to be with her where she is, with you, her with you where you are, whatever. Create the end result, and then create scenes that imply that you are living that end result right now. So it could be like, you could go simple, where it's just I am in the most loving, passionate, committed relationship with a specific person, or visualizations of you two together, like on your wedding day, or celebrating your 1-year wedding anniversary, stuff like that. In the morning and night, you're going to bring those scenes or statements to mind and impress your subconscious mind with them by repeating them as if you are living them right now, and really feel into them as if they are true for you right now. And you are going to persist in that, feeling that it's done. And then when you feel that it's done, you will then let go of, not let go, but you will then move forward as this new person who is in fact in this relationship. And you will continue to persist in this, knowing that it is done until they come in. And it's literally that simple. It's mainly just a case of not letting the 3D circumstances get in your way and continuing to persist in this new version of yourself. Fitter says, no, my SP wants to be just a friend and I want a relationship with him. Okay, so you've been friend zoned, I see. I have feelings for him and manifest him in a relationship, and so it hurts when I see him and he doesn't show those feelings. That's why I think it's better to cut to see him so I'm not getting confused too much. Okay, so in that situation, again, the exact same as what I just said above to Rahul. You will create an end result that implies that you two are together, and then utilize the morning and night to impress your subconscious mind. As you're seeing him throughout the day, whatever it is that he is showing you that is undesirable, you don't give power to. Obviously, feel it through however you need to, but don't dwell in it. Don't dwell in it in a case of like, oh, he said that he doesn't want to be anything more. That must mean it's true. That must mean I'll never get him. Don't do that. Just go, I see what I'm being shown. All good, because in my reality, I am in fact in this relationship. And then move forward in this relationship, focusing on the positives out of everything and focusing on your end result.
One thing I was going to say is you're sort of like in that sort of difficult position where, yes, the best thing for you might not be seeing him, but you need to assure yourself that the reason you are not seeing him is not because you don't have him. Because if you go and start changing all your plans and changing what you do in a day so that you don't bump into him and that you don't see him and you're not together sort of thing, you are then going, right, I need to not see this man because I love him, he doesn't love me. I need to plan a different day so that I don't bump into him because we're not together sort of thing. You're adding an extra story, if that makes sense. You're adding like this whole, we can't see each other because then we won't get each other. And you just need to make sure that you're not seeing it from that perspective. So by coincidence, you did something else that day, which meant you didn't run into each other, but that's okay because later you're going to be home together in a loving relationship sort of thing. You need to make sure that you are keeping that mentality of, we are together. The reason we have not bumped into each other is, and then you can make up whatever reason why you have not seen him that day. But you need to not let yourself get into that loop of, I need to not bump into him because it hurts so much seeing him. But yeah, if you can sit there and create different stories as to why you're not going to see him that day and why you haven't bumped into him at the coffee shop because he's on a work meeting and you'll speak to him later, or whatever it is, you just need to make sure that you're not saying, right, I can't see him because it hurts. Because if you were together, it wouldn't hurt seeing him, sort of thing. So yeah, create yourself some stories, create some reasons why you're not going to see him, and basically just continue with like what you are doing, sort of thing.
Exactly. Random name says, speaking of which, can you plant a seed that can't be unearthed? I try to do so with affirmations. I am destined to. It is inevitable that, whether I believe it or not. Okay, you got into a different tangent. So I don't believe so. I believe that, I know a lot of coaches do say that everything will come to pass, but I don't believe that's the case, purely because there's been times when I've really tried to focus on something and then changed my mind and not wanted it anymore, and then it's like not happened, purely because I've changed my mind that my experience isn't in fact that. So I do think that stuff that you've impressed and kind of left alone will still come into play. But I think things that you impress and then actively impress the opposite of having, I don't think that they do. For example, let's say that I was trying to impress the seed of being with Katie. If I then change my mind and actually say, you know what, I don't want Katie anymore, and then I live in the end of no longer having Katie, as in like, I just, I tell my friends I don't want Katie. I think of Katie, I'm like, actually, why did I ever want that? All those kind of things. I believe that it does unearth it. I believe that that is you basically just canceling it out. You are not, your subconscious mind has been fed this new story of I am in this situation, I don't want this isn't my person, and then they don't impress. So I don't think any scene is inadvertently like unearthable, because if that was the case, then Neville wouldn't say persist until it hardens into fact. If you could do one visualization and guarantee that you impress your subconscious mind with that visualization or affirmation or whatever in that moment, then it wouldn't be a persist until it hardens into fact. It would be make sure that it impresses and then leave it alone until it hardens into fact. So I personally, and other coaches might disagree with me, and that's fine if they do, but I personally don't think that anything is unearthable. And I think you have to stay at least consistent in placing yourself in this new mindset, this new version of yourself, this new impression to get it. Oh, I'll get to that in a second. Random Name also said the red pill communities have so much negative beliefs about women. No wonder they attract such bad women. Yes, the red pill community is a very dangerous place to be. The red pill community is where I started my self-improvement a long time ago now. Accidentally, I just come across sort of content and I was like, oh, okay, this is how you attract women, yada, yada, yada. This was kind of like before I'd really properly got into LOA. Well, I'd been into LOA before, but I'd given up on it at the time. And I started to use it. And yeah, it is very, very negative. And that's why I wanted to stress that self-improvement is completely different to red pill. Red pill would be like the top 5 ways to attract a woman, whereas self-improvement is like how to level up so that you can naturally attract the women that are good for you. There's like a massive difference. Obviously, that's not the only thing about self-improvement, but like if we were linking the two of them in the same way. So a red pill community is very similar to like pickup artists, which is just a toxic cultural in itself. Whereas self-improvement is actually trying to become a better individual so that you can create a good life for you and your loved ones. Like obviously me trying to create a good life for Katie, not trying to just woo her to just kind of get her in bed and then doing whatever I want. Self-improvement will be like, how can you actually become a man that can provide love, support your woman, as opposed to just pick her up, bro? Did you have something you wanted to say?
I could go on a very big tangent about the red pill community. I think that it strives very much on naivety, basically. And I think as well with the sort of like, especially for like the UK, I don't know how bad COVID was for everywhere else, but we went like completely shut down for 2 years. So anybody coming of age in that time, and I think that's why it has boomed so much recently, because anybody coming of age, any teenage boys that were just sort of reaching like puberty and the sort of that sort of area of their lives, they all arrived there when the world had shut down, when we couldn't go out, when we couldn't do anything. So they literally are confused, naive, and that's where they've like basically grown from. That's why it's become so massive, and because like it's gained all this support because people haven't known how to be social people. Like I mean, like babies born in COVID, they don't know that other children exist until very recently. And I think that where we were all very much trapped at home online, that's where it's sort of all blown out from. And I think that it it basically strives on people who haven't had the chance to practice social skills. And yeah, I'm probably gonna be hated.
No, you're not. It's true. It's true.
Like
This life cycle of a red pill community individual, whether it's a red pill community YouTuber or someone that watches it, is individual with lack of social skills. They try to attract women. Women walk all over them because this individual is the problem. But then they see online, oh, hypergamy, oh, women this, women that, women only want to upgrade, women will cheat if there's a better man. They see all this shit online, and then it gives them an excuse not to work on themselves, and then it becomes a hatred for women. That's why red pill community is such a shit place to be. Whereas self-improvement is man with no social skills tries to attract a woman, doesn't work because he's got no social skills. He's got nothing that he's bringing to the table. Woman isn't interested. He goes, oh, I see I'm not as clean and tidy as I could be. Oh, I see I don't actually have as much value as I could possibly add to this table. Let me go and work on myself so that I can naturally have it. There's two different like ways that it goes, and one's a very healthy way, the other one's a very toxic way.
I think one of them is very much like, let's find your perfect like match for your life and for everything, and then the other one is just
let's just blame everyone else.
let's just see what the best thing that you can get is and try and get it with cutting everybody out and hurting everybody along the way.
Yeah. Anyway, that's enough on that, because this is an LOA channel.
Yeah. Why are we even talking about this? But yeah.
Oh, random name says, as a guy myself, the negative beliefs about...
As a gay guy myself.
Oh, as a gay guy, sorry. I've not got my glasses on. As a gay guy myself, the negative beliefs about men that women have are not helping. I have heard way too many men aren't worth shit affirmations that just make me shrug, lol. And yeah, absolutely. There's, like, we talk about the regular community. There is a very big community at the moment of women also doing the same. It's just a big old fucking mess. I think people just need to work on themselves, and then they'll bring the right people in.
I think as well, one of the most important things that people do not realize is you do not have to put other people down to affirm for yourself. I think a lot of people think, I know the only way that I can feel good about myself is if I make other people the sort of butt of my joke. Like, for example, an affirmation might be like, I am the best person in the world, and that one's fine. But then people are like, I am way prettier than Sarah. Obviously, I'm so much better than Susan. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, people sort of go on this weird, I have to put other people down in order to make my affirmations like valid sort of thing, and in order to make myself feel valid. So I think, yeah, definitely there are a lot of women that go, well, you know, I have the best I don't know, I have the best body in the world. I have the best this in the world. I have the best that in the world. No man deserves me. Man is shit. Like, men are shit. Like, they go on those sort of things because they're like, oh, big myself up. But you don't need the other part. You don't need to put anyone down in order to work on your self-concept. And I think that that is a big mistake that people make. And like, everybody has moments where someone has done them wrong and they will just generalize and be like, I absolutely hate men, they're such bitches, sort of thing, or whatever it is, because one person has done them wrong. But I think it's very important to realize that you can raise yourself up so much more by not pushing other people down, by just focusing on you. It takes half the amount of time, it takes so much less like effort. You can like genuinely just stand there and go, I am the prettiest person in the world. You don't have to be prettier than blah blah. You don't have to have better hair than so and so. You can just stand there and say, look at me, I'm amazing, I'm this, I'm that. And it's less effort, less time, and you feel better about yourself. And I think there's this strange idea where you have to put other people down to feel better about yourself. And I think that's the trap that people fall into. But yeah.
Yeah, shows the toxic world we live in at the moment. Random name says, Katie looked like she wanted to strangle you when you said that. Yeah, she did. There's actually a video I have on my phone. It's amazing. You can't see what's being said in it, but my sister recorded us. And all you can see is like Katie's looking at me and I'm talking, and I must say something that she's not having, and her face changes and she looks like she wants to kill me. It's amazing. I might have to like put it up or something at some point, just like a little mini clip. Or it's brilliant. But yeah, she does that a lot. She gives her face quite a lot.
It's because you said, why would I want that?
Yeah, I know. It was for my example. Ryan Fakira, sorry if I said that wrong. Hi, only found your channel like 2 weeks ago and loving your methods. I really have taken to them better than anyone else. I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad that I've helped you out and that you've become accustomed to it a lot better. That's obviously the aim of this channel. I wanted to simplify stuff for people that might be new to it or just needing a little bit of help. So I'm glad to have you here on the channel. Rahul says, Matt, how to ignore the 3D when it works against manifestation, and why is this happening? Or why? Yeah. Okay, so you don't necessarily need to ignore the 3D. I know obviously a lot of coaches say that, and I've probably in the past said if you can, do it. But if it's something that really bothers you, I think you should feel through and like feel it through. You don't want to ignore it, because if you ignore it, it's going to ball it up, and you will do more for yourself in a positive way to feel it momentarily, let it all go, and then move on, than to just completely cover up as if it never happened. So I would just say to feel it through and then move on, reminding yourself that you are the operant power and what you are doing is creating your reality.
And one other thing I was going to say very quickly is like assigning new meaning. That's one thing that
So-
works very well.
Yeah. And then the other thing is, why is this happening? So it depends. Obviously, you just say, how do you ignore the 3D? I don't really know much else about like the situation, but if you're affirming for something over and over and over again, for example, and you're affirming like a banshee and you're coming from a state of desperation and lack, you will get more things to prove to you that you're in desperation and lack. So it could potentially be that the state that you are affirming from is creating more negative than what you are actually trying to affirm for. For example, it does say this in The Power of the Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy, that to blindly affirm all day, every day, is potentially coming from a state of not having and a state of lack, and therefore being your conscious mind is getting in your way, saying this isn't true for us. This is why we are pushing this out over and over and over again, and will feed out more negative. So take a look at your process and ask yourself, one, are you being genuinely vigilant with your thoughts, or are you actually letting your thoughts go to the wrong place? And two, where are you affirming, visualizing, scripting, or doing whatever technique you're doing from? What state are you doing it from? Veg says, Matt, maybe you have talked about it, but I'm still asking, did you have an inner knowing that Katie was coming back, or did you just enjoy your life thinking you would be okay no matter what she's doing? Oh, it's actually a good question. That's a better question than what we got a lot when it comes to the situation. Usually we get like, how long did it take? So yes and no. So at first I was obviously quite like desperate. I was like doing a lot of techniques and stuff, and it wasn't comfortable. It wasn't good. It wasn't, this is why I say that it should be natural for you. I was doing it a lot more than what's natural. And it wasn't comfortable. It wasn't until I actually did say to myself exactly that. I said to myself that if I never see Katie again, that's it. I'll just go and live my life. And I did exactly that. I actually let go fully. And I basically just said, if I never see her again, it is what it is, kind of thing. And it literally, I think it was the next day. And I woke up to 2 missed calls. The first one was from my mum. So the only thing that said, the second one was from my mum. So when I checked my phone and saw missed calls saying 2, I only saw from mum because the other one was obviously hidden underneath it. But somehow I knew that the other one was Katie, even though there was no reason for me to, because my mum had already missed a call. There would have been no reason why my mum couldn't have called me twice. But yeah, I just knew that the other one was Katie. So it was a bit of both. I did literally just say to myself, I'm going to live my life no matter what she's doing. She could do what she wants. I'm going to live my life. And it wasn't until that happened that I then got the movement. And that movement I knew was that before I actually saw the notification properly, I knew it was Katie. So it's a bit of both. Good question. I like that one. I like those questions about our situation a lot more than the how long did it take?
I think they like a lot of people just want reassurance.
They want reassurance, yeah, but it's just everyone's
And
journey is different.
That's the thing to remember. The fact that we are back together is a big reassurance.
Yeah, it just means that it can be done. I always worry that I'm going to say, oh yeah, it didn't take us that long, and then someone's going to be like, oh well, I've been doing this for a year, so does that mean I'm doing something
like,
wrong?
Give up,
yeah,
or whatever. Yeah,
I'm worried that I'm
like,
going to ruin it by saying it.
This is the thing. Like, we don't want to have our exact personal experience and story out there, and it's not necessarily just for privacy. It's more to do with the fact that if it is, there is so much for people to compare to. So if, for example, I say exactly how I felt on the day, then people are going to sit there and think, well, so-and-so is not thinking that, they're not feeling that, they're not doing this, they're not doing that, they didn't phone me, they didn't do this. And it's going to add a lot more doubt and a lot more like blockage for other people. And so I think it's important to remember that every story is very, very different, and everyone's journey is very, very different. But the fact that, I mean, we have gone from, I would say, very bad to very good. And
very bad's an understatement.
That, and like, I know it's hard to like hear, but that should be reassurance enough.
Yeah, not that we should not still be together, but when you look at the relationship, how it was at the beginning, there should be no reason why we are together. It was awful. My self-concept was on the fucking floor. This is why I pushed so much self-concept, because I had to, and now everything's great. I'm going to answer these last few questions, and then we're going to head off because it's coming up to nearly an hour now, and I got a long ass day tomorrow. So I want to try and rest up a bit. JRC says, here on lunch, wanted to say hi. Howdy JRC. I like the song you sent me earlier, actually, by the way. I think it was quite cool. I did like the theme behind it. Random Name says, how do you feel about revision as opposed to lovingly accepting your past and what it taught you? When you have done one over the other, if you have done both. So I actually don't do revision. I'm not against revision, but I actually don't really particularly I don't overly recommend revision. Now, I know Neville sort of said that revision was like this amazing thing and that everyone should go to sleep revising the day. And I think for revising little things like your day, like, oh, I wish I didn't flip that guy off when he cut me up in the car, or I wish maybe I had picked a tuna at sandwich instead of a burger because of the calories, those kind of things, like, yeah, whatever. But I think revising big situations, in my personal opinion, I would not do it because I prefer the other one that you suggested, lovingly accepting that what's happened has happened and moving forward. I think when you're trying to drown out the past and change it in your mind, I think it's very unhealthy. And yeah, like people may disagree with me because it's like, oh, well, everything's a memory, you just change the memory or whatever. Sure, if you want to see it that way and you want to do revision, by all means do it. But I think when we're trying to convince ourselves that the past didn't happen, I think a lot of people can fall into quite an unhealthy mindset and an unhealthy state. And I'd recommend just lovingly accepting your past, forgiving yourself, forgiving your person, and then moving forward as opposed to trying to drown out what actually happened.
I feel as well that revision, I don't think many people can genuinely do it. And I think people who say they have successfully revised something, it's almost like how would they know? Because if you
Yeah.
have got rid of a memory, how would you know that you had successfully revised it? So I think that when people do sort of like try to revise things, it can become living too much in that story. It can get to the point where you are absorbing yourself in this memory so much because you are trying to replace it. You are trying to rewrite a whole, especially if it was a big sort of traumatic event, you are trying to it's hard to explain what I mean, but I don't think it's as easy and as healthy as people believe it is.
Yeah.
Personally, because like I said, if it was very easy and very successful, no one would be able to tell you that they have done it. And know for a fact that they had done it. I think that people naturally do that because if you think about sort of very traumatic memories, a lot of people have blanks. A lot of people have, oh well, I remember this happening, and somebody else tells them the true story and stuff like that. So I think that as particularly as children, we very successfully revise stories. Anything that we don't want to remember, I think we can very successfully revise stories. But I personally, I wouldn't say it's the healthiest way to do things. And like Matt said, if it's something little and like, oh, I wish I didn't say you too when the man handed me a coffee. I did that the other day and he said enjoy, and I was like, yeah, you too. Oh, so embarrassing. Like those kind of things, that's fine. Like that's easy, that's fine. You can just act like that never happened. Just say I did not say that. In fact, I walked out the shop saying I did not just say that. No way. But yeah, I think that actually knowing what has happened to you is probably a healthier option than not. I've just rambled. I'm very preoccupied with other things, but yeah, sorry.
That's right.
My head is elsewhere today, so any advice that I've given might not have been the best. I'm very sorry. But
RSW says, what does it mean if guys, romantically or not, eventually end up ghosting me? Is it my self-concept? What do you recommend? Yeah, so if it's guys, if you're pluralizing this, then I would probably say that it's a self-concept issue. Reason being, if it's happening more than one specific person, it's not necessarily a version that you're having of them, and it would be about what you're seeing about yourself. So I would ask yourself, what assumptions do you have about yourself that could lead to guys ghosting you? Is it that you don't feel like you're interesting enough for them to talk to? Is it that maybe you just don't keep people's attention, like all those kind of things? And then flip the narrative to say the complete opposite, like, no, I am the most interesting person. People are dying to talk to me. and you can kind of flip it in that way and work on the self-concept part of you that is causing this in the first place. Ryan says, currently I'm attracting SP, currently blocked on everything, but she's going to unblock and reach out, obviously because I'm awesome, but I have had anxiety and it's hard to keep positive through through them times. Just feel it through as best you can. Just kind of like get yourself to a level playing field so that you feel more calm and confident about the situation, and then go back forward living in the end of how awesome you actually are. Because if you're trying to like smother yourself in all of these positive things and you're trying to drown out the negative as best you can, it can be quite unhealthy sometimes. I advise doing everything in a healthy way. I advise accepting the circumstances and then moving forward. Monica Santos says, hi darlings, have a nice evening. You too, glad to have you here. JRC says, much love fam. Thumbs up. Yeah, no, I appreciate all the nice comments that you put, JRC. It's lovely to hear from you. And then Bia says, guys, I think I already asked you, but how can I easily manifest some new sales on my online program? Will they somehow find me because I feel like I'm receiving them, like find me by themselves? That can happen. Or if you live in the end of it already happening, you might be inspired to do something that causes them to happen. So I would, like I said, I would find out how much you want to be earning or the amount of sales you make per month, and then create scenes and statements that imply that you are living this situation, and then dwell in them like morning and night when you're most receptive. And yeah, just dwell in this end result. And then either the sales will organically find you on their own, or
you'll have some inspired action.
Yeah, you'll have some inspired action that causes you to do something which leads to the sales. Ryan says, thanks for the advice. You guys are awesome. Have a good one. You're very welcome. You too. Yeah, so that's it, everyone. We're going to wrap up on this now. Thank you all for showing up. I realized that I didn't put a notification to say that we were going live today, but that was because I wasn't sure if we would be able to. If you are in need of any of my help whatsoever, obviously you know where to find the website links. They'll be in any previous video or on my homepage, I'm pretty sure. And if you are interested in the second channel, like I say, it's going to be general mindset work. It's not going to be specifically LOA stuff. Then the channel is called Becoming Something Better. I have recently done a community tab post where the link is there. I would advise using that because because it's a small channel so far, searching the name doesn't work.
I definitely think it is worth checking it out.
Yeah, I also
just for the challenges as well. Like if you're not like interested in like like male improvement kind of thing, watch his challenges, because so far he's done the push-up challenge.
Yeah,
and it was very fun to watch.
500 push-ups in under an hour was the first challenge, because it's also going to be physical and mental toughness challenges as well. It's literally going to be just all mindset. So
why have we got so many of these?
I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, so if you are interested, check the link that's on my community page. I'm shutting it down, so there's no point.
I was just going to block it from the channel.
Oh, I see.
You can hide the user on the channel and then they can't post anything else.
Just quickly, Angel Summer says, any advice on how to deal with feeling scared? So it depends what you're scared about. Fear comes from a place of something that you're expecting to happen and it hasn't even happened yet. So ask yourself, has it happened yet? No, will be the answer. And then you can kind of calm yourself down to remind yourself that at this current moment you are safe and happy and healthy. And then you can remind yourself that things can go in your positive way when you think about them in a positive way. And
have a little look into like what the actual fear is.
Yeah,
like exactly. What is it that you are actually scared of? Because you might think, oh, I'm just scared of this, but there may be one tiny little aspect. Like you might be scared of going to a party, but it might be because you are worried that so and so that might be there, sort of thing. So look at what it is that you're actually scared of, because some people think that they have a great big fear of lots and lots of different things, but in reality it is just one little tiny thing that could pop up in different scenarios. Therefore, they feel like they are scared of 10 things when it's just one.
Yeah. And final person, Sour Apple says, hey, any advice on dealing with third party who looks much better than me? So first thing, don't put any...
They don't look better than you.
Oh yeah, there's that. But first thing, don't put any focus on a third party. The more focus you put on a third party, even if it's to remove them, you are assigning that they are part of your reality, which is going to keep them in. So instead of focusing on the third party, place that focus on you and your specific person being together right now, because in that scene, there is no room for a third party. And second, work on your self-concept so that you get to a point where you are loving yourself. You don't care if people look better than you. You know that you bring more to the table than anything. And then you will be able to manifest that exact experience. Okay, if we can start the comments now, because I'm trying to leave, but I don't want to like miss anybody out. Okna says, if I can enter any state without affirming and stay in that state, do I still have to affirm? A theory, no, because it's a state that manifests, right? Yeah, absolutely. You can just simply just operate as this new version and you don't have to affirm. Affirming just helps the people that aren't able to do that so easily get into that state. And then Angel says, scared of losing my lover. Well, right now, you still have them, so there's no reason to be scared. Build up your self-concept so that you're not scared. Remember that you do still have them and everything's great, and you will be okay. Check out the coaching services if any of you need it. Check out the second channel if you're interested in joining me on this journey, and I will catch you all in the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye. You didn't do the